Hello, my name is Mohammad Amir Zarpanafard. I'm studying environmental engineering at the University of Calgary.
Hello, I'm Animesh Zamgad. I'm currently studying MA in Electrical and Computer Engineering at University of Calgary.
My name is Kevin Gori and I am studying at Master in Chemical and Petroleum Engineering at University of Calgary.
Hi, my name is Jawad Anis. Currently, I'm attending Master of Engineering in Electrical and Computer Engineering at University of Calgary.
We did an ethical case study on Deepwater Horizon oil spill for the project of this course. Next one, please. For the introduction, Deepwater Horizon oil spill occurred on April 20th, 2010 in the Gulf of Mexico at the Macondo well, which was located 1,500 meters below sea level. An explosion happens on British Petroleum oil rig, which was owned by Transocean. 11 workers were killed and 17 was injured. This incident released 4.9 million barrels of oil into the Gulf of Mexico and is considered as the largest oil spill in history. Next one, please. For technical context, the drill pipe and well casing were used to reach the oil reservoirs, and cement used to seal and prevent gases such as hydrocarbons to escape. In this case, cement failed and hydrocarbons came up. Blowout preventer, which was called BOP, did not respond, and the British Petroleum changed heavy mud with seawater too early, which caused pressure imbalance and an explosion. This disaster was caused by engineering failures and human decisions, such as ignoring warnings, cost-cutting, and poor safety oversight. Next slide, please. For a timeline, on April 20th, 2010, explosion happened and they evacuated the rig. On April 22nd, rig sank and oil began to leak into the Gulf. On May 2nd to June 3rd, they used Top Kill to contain the contaminants, but it was a failure. June 15, wells they successfully capped the well after 87 days, and on September 19, they stopped the spill. Around 65 billion in damage, ecological harm, and stricter drilling rules were the outcome of this event. Next slide, please.
For the stakeholder identification and impacts, the Deepwater Horizon disaster involves many stakeholders with a serious conflict for each other. VP as the operator held by the man responsibility for the safety and the project management. Transocean is the rig owner and the Halliburton in the charge of cementing were also directly involved. The worker and their families faced the tragic losses while US government and agencies like Coast Guard and EPA managed the massive cleanup. Local communities, fishermen and tourism industry suffer major economic damages and the environmental, especially marine life was devastated. Next please. For the ethical dilemma, the disaster exposed several ethical conflicts. The main dilemma was between safety and profit. The BP and its partner faced the schedule pressure, which leads to risky shortcuts. Another was lack of transparency, warning from the engineers about safety, risky, and were ignored. This action shows how failing to priorities and ethics over the business goals can have the major outcomes. Next, please. Professional and ethic engineering ethics code. The NSPE code of engineering ethics clearly states that engineers must hold the safety, health, and welfare of the public above all else. In this case, principle was violated, safety was sacrificed for the speed and cost and savings. As the future engineer, we must remember that ethics are not just a guidelines, they are our duty to protect lives, environments, and the public trust.
Thanks. I will be continuing by talking about the ethical dilemma issues, consequences, and key safety failures of Deepwater Horizon disaster. The first main ethical dilemma was profit over safety. BP made cost-cutting decisions and focused on short-term gains, ignoring warnings and signs and safety risk. There were also poor oversights, weak safety regulations, and lack of accountability meant dangerous practices were unchecked, as the meme shows it. was the mindset of safety first unless it cost time or money. The consequences were tragic. 11 workers lost their lives, and oil spill caused several damage to marine life and ecosystems. Coastal communities faced major disruptions and financial losses, and which lasting livelihood disruptions. Lastly, there were another major safety failures: equipment malfunctions, operational errors, communication breakdown, lack of training. All of these combined led to one of the worst industrial disasters of the history. Overall, the Deepwater Horizon tragedy reminds us that safety and ethics must always come before the profit. Mute. You are mute, Shafat.
Javed, you are mute.
Okay, sorry. So the ethical issues in the Deepwater Horizon disaster. The Deepwater Horizon disaster wasn't just about equipment or technical error, it was about ethical collapse. BP and its partners, Transocean and Halliburton, made choices that put profit and timeline ahead of safety. They ignored pressure warnings, skipped ski cement test, and communication completely broke down. Everyone assumed someone else was handling safety. In real, nobody was concerned about the safety, and that's when things went terribly wrong. When the blowout preventer failed, the result was devastating. 11 people lost their lives, and millions of barrels of oil split into the Gulf of Mexico. This case shows how dangerous it is when engineering ethics is not a concern. So, our first responsibility as engineers is to protect people, the environment, and public welfare. Once that's forgotten, the consequence can be huge. Next slide, please. So there are some core ethical lessons that we have learned from this. First, safety has to come before profit, always. No deadline, no budget, and no corporate pressure should ever outweigh human life or environmental safety. Second, we need to have the courage to speak up. In this case, people noticed red flags, but no one wanted to challenge decision or slow things down. Sometimes being ethical means being uncomfortable, being awkward, but that's part of the job. And third, accountability and honesty. Every engineer needs to take responsibility for their work and communicate clearly. Being skilled isn't enough. What defines us is using that skill responsibly. Next slide. Okay. So there are some takeaways for future engineers also. For us as future engineers, this case is a powerful reminder of what our role really means. We should help create a culture where anyone at any level can stop unsafe work without fear. That simple action can save lives. We also have to design with failure in mind. We have to double check every safety ecosystems and always be ready for the worst case scenario. And finally, protecting the environment should never be treated as extra. It's a part of our duty. The Gulf's ecosystem and nearby communities still face with the impact of its disaster. The Deepwater Horizon case reminds us that engineering is more than solving problems. It's about preventing them, protecting people, and doing what's right, even when it's hard. Next slide.
So here we have figured out some questions, and I will ask my friend one question. How can future engineer establish a culture that prioritizes safety, transparency, and accountability over the profit?
Yeah, sure, Kevin. Future engineers can encourage this culture by embedding ethics into all stages of design and decision making. Companies should encourage a stop work culture where there is no fear of reprisal, where everyone can stop work because of safety concerns. An established reporting mechanism should be established, regular ethics training should be given, and leadership opportunities should encourage ethical behaviors that can facilitate accountability. Lastly, ethical obligations must become a corporate culture where encompassed for both engineering practices and company policy. So that's all. These are all our references from where we took information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.